The border dividing India and Pakistan is rigid, heavily militarized, and strictly defined by decades of religious and political conflict. But look closely at the people living on both sides of this line, and you find a paradox: the Sindhi. In Pakistan, they are predominantly Muslim. In India and the wider diaspora, they are mostly Hindu. Yet they fiercely protect a singular shared identity. How does a culture stay intact when a hostile geopolitical border permanently splits its population in half? The answer lies in a way of being forged thousands of years before modern borders or even modern religions existed. These brick ruins belong to Mohenjo-Daro, a cornerstone of the Indus Valley Civilization, built around 3000 BCE. This is the physical bedrock of Sindhi history. For millennia, this region was a natural fortress. The Arabian Sea and harsh surrounding deserts acted as protective walls, while the massive Indus River sustained life inside. This geographic isolation allowed a highly distinct, localized society to incubate. When Islam arrived in this isolated basin centuries later, the region readily adopted Sufism. This mystical branch of Islam harmonized with the ancient Hindu practices already rooted in the soil. Instead of clashing, these communities intertwined. They worshipped together at the same shrines and shared a rich tradition of folklore and poetry, guided by the verses of local saints like Shah Abdul Latif Bhatai. A shared geography and a syncretic faith forged a unified moral universe. To be Sindhi meant valuing intellect and loyalty over strict religious dogma. That universe shattered in 1947. The partition of India drew a new, hard line across the subcontinent, awarding the entirety of the Sindh region to the newly formed state of Pakistan. While other borders erupted in immediate violence, the Sindhi experience was different. A massive influx of refugees from India poured into Sindh, and the resulting demographic shift and fear of persecution drove local Hindus to flee. The Sindhi Muslims remained. They absorbed the massive new populations, while acting as the physical stewards of their ancestral homeland and its ancient Sufi shrines. Meanwhile, departing Sindhi Hindus faced a harsh reality. There was no dedicated Sindhi state carved out for them in India. They were effectively rendered stateless. Look at the sheer scale of the crowds on these docks. Drawing on their historical connection to the water, a massive portion of the Hindu population escaped by sea, packing onto ships bound for foreign ports. An ancient, place-based culture was suddenly, violently ripped from the geographic foundation that had sustained it for 5,000 years. Displaced and without a state, the Sindhi Hindus turned to their deepest historical roots to survive. They were, after all, a riverine and trading people. They activated tight-knit community networks and generations of business acumen. As you can see in these vintage commercial districts, they integrated into major Indian economic centers like Bombay, rebuilding their lives through business and trade. They didn't stop at India's borders. Those trade networks expanded overseas, establishing prosperous diaspora communities in global maritime hubs like Hong Kong. The Sindhi diaspora turned the trauma of displacement into a blueprint for international commerce, thriving in foreign ports far from the river that first defined them. Because the physical land was now inaccessible to half the population, the artifacts and customs of the culture had to function as the homeland. Notice the repeating three-leaf or trefoil pattern carved into the shoulder of this ancient priest-king bust, created in the Indus Valley thousands of years ago. Now, watch this modern craftsman stamping a traditional block-printed shawl known as an adrak. That exact ancient visual language survives today, worn by Sindhis across the globe as a badge of identity. Beyond what they could wear, they carried what they could hear and speak. A shared language and traditional Sufi musical forms, like Wai and Kafi, acted as an invisible archive, preserving their oral histories and psychological identity. These artistic tools functioned as a portable homeland, a set of memories and patterns that could be unpacked in any city in the world. Today, that survival is made visible during Sindhi Culture Day. Every year, this event reunites the fractured population. It allows communities to assert their shared history through their adrak shawls and traditional caps, regardless of the specific passport they hold. And this global celebration connects directly back to the soil of Sindh, where the original shrines still stand in their intricate blue tilework, serving as reminders of a shared, inclusive philosophy. True heritage does not require soil. Through the enduring power of folklore, art, and philosophy, the Sindhi people prove that even when a border divides a community, its culture can remain unbreakable.